So you may be wondering, what's the dozy cow doing outside in the rain? Well, it's been a bit of a morning and I need the walk. I need the fresh air and I need to clean my head. So here we are. I also need to get my umbrella out. Shirt, that went for £19.99, nice check shirt. A mint velvet, black long sleeve top, £7. A pair of Dr. Martin boots, red boots, £60. Hello guys. Is this the first time I've spoken to you today? It feels like it's the first time I've opened my mouth to explain something, like what I've been doing. Oh no, I think I briefly spoke to you on the walk before the rain just started coming down way too heavily for me to hold a phone, film, umbrella, all of that. Anyway, so this morning, that's what I told you. It's been a bit of a morning, just in the sense that things have happened. My brain got into some knots and I decided that I would just go for the walk, drop off the parcels, and that would deal with the knots and would unknot it. And it kind of has, actually. I have had quite a lot of ideas and thoughts and things brewing this week, and then during the walk I think I've actually clarified some things, and then I've just sat down and on like a single sheet of a reporter's notebook I have just planned out exactly what I want to do with my life. Kind of like, and I think the fact that it fits onto that page, I think that's a good thing. So let's start then with this morning. I woke up this morning a little bit earlier than I would like. I think it was about 6 o'clock. And normally the alarm goes off at 7 and I kind of surface and get out of bed around 7:15, 7:30, that sort of time. Anyway, woke up and found that I had got some messages from people who had very sensibly and kindly taken the time to alert me to the fact that I had some personal data showing in the video that I uploaded last night, and it meant that I had to figure out how I could cover that up or edit it out of the video without having to delete the video and re-upload it and almost like lose the comments and the views and the things that it had already got, and without confusing people, because I'd done that, and so on and so forth. I don't know if anyone's like me, but whenever I have to figure out something new, I get really it's not anxiety, I just get a little bit nervous about doing it, and my brain sort of goes into this, oh my god, you've got to do it, you've got to sort it out, and then it's, oh my god, it's new, you can't possibly do it. So at about 6:15 this morning I was like googling how to edit out a section of your YouTube video after it's been uploaded. Turns out it's actually very easy to do. So I went in and I cut a section out. There was also, for those of you that have YouTube channels, there was also an option to blur something out, which is what I initially wanted to do, but I don't know if my internet connection was particularly slow, but I couldn't get it to do it properly, and I kept getting the spinny wheel of death, and I couldn't drag the blur over a long enough section of the video. I think it was probably just my internet connection. I'm sure the feature actually works, but the one that did work was the editing. So I removed the little section where I clearly had not tidied my desk before filming, and actually that's sort of how that happens. Is I'm quite chaotic and untidy, you may have noticed. I should be really clear. You hear me talking about that, about mess and untidiness and things. I don't hate myself because of it. I actually understand that that's just part of who I am, and that it fits quite well with someone who is better at things like generating ideas and being imaginative and creative and communicative and all of those things. Alongside that just comes this slightly chaotic messiness. So it's that coupled with the fact that I'm editing things a lot less and a lot more quickly in order to get a video out every day, so I need to bear that in mind. Normally what happens is I do like one edit and then I go back over the video again to kind of fine tune things, and at the moment I'm not doing the fine tuning one, which is where I look much more carefully at what's left of the video. But anyway, thank you so much for those of you who alerted me to it. And actually, some of you might have lost your comments, in the sense that the people who warned me about it in the comments, I didn't let those comments through because I didn't want anyone to, almost like to alert anyone to the bit of the video that it was. There were a couple of people who messaged me on Etsy and did it in such a polite way, because I'm quite clear in my description that it's not a point of personal contact, and that it's not somewhere that you can just message me for a chit chat or to like ask me questions about KDP or whatever it is that I'm doing. I did have someone do that recently and it's not on, but the two people that did message me were incredibly aware of that and had basically apologized, which was unnecessary given the circumstances, but did write their messages in just the way that I would expect the people that are kind of in my orbit, my community, I believe is the phrase now. Those of you that are in my orbit and are very, very mindful of the fact that I am a real person who's running real businesses and can't really have people misusing access to me via those businesses. Those people, and there's a good chunk of you that are like that. You always have such a lovely way of wording your messages and comments and the way that you conduct yourself and things. Basically, I'm just really, really grateful that there are such lovely people out there that make really thoughtful decisions before they contact me about something. So yeah, so that's just my way of saying thank you for that, and I figured out how to correct it and how to do it. And actually now I've learned a new skill as well, so if anything like that ever happens again, do let me know. Like some of you did. I'm sure most of you probably watched it and didn't even notice, like I didn't notice when I was editing. But if you ever see another YouTuber do that, you know, sometimes we don't cover our addresses properly, and it's that thing of, even though we think we're being careful, sometimes it slips through. I'm always aware when I sit downstairs on the sofa, right behind my head is our letter rack. It's a gorgeous Art Deco letter rack, by the way. It's beautiful. And I always either turn it round backwards, or I make sure that paperwork is turned round backwards in case there's addresses, any kind of personal details and things on there. But this thing that was in the video, I just had lying on my desk and hadn't even thought about it. So that's a long-winded way of saying that the morning didn't start quite how I expected, but I'm hugely grateful for those of you trying to help protect me. That was brilliant. So dealt with that, did my dispatch, and I had like really grateful for the 3 sales that I had on my personal eBay. What I'm currently doing with the decluttering is pretty much anything that can go on Vinted goes on Vinted, because there aren't any fees. Anything that Vinted won't allow, because I have tried a couple of things recently and been like, had the listing taken down and this message of, if you do this too often, we're just going to close your account. So I have to be really careful, because I'm too lazy to check like which items are prohibited and whatever, because it's really weird stuff compared to eBay. Anyway, I sold 3 things, but they were of course 3 things that I do not enjoy packing. So I didn't film any of my dispatch this morning because I was being grumpy about it. It's just, honestly, I was being miserable about it. But I got those 3 things packaged, got all my eBay sales packaged, and then I also got a little bit grumpy for no real reason over a couple of things that had sold on Vinted that also just required more than just dropping something in a jiffy bag. I think no. Dispatch was all done, parcels are dropped off, so that's all good. And a couple of positive financial things happened today. Where are we? Right, so I have been earning a little bit of affiliate income from a tool called Repper that I use for my KDP work. If you've come here from my KDP videos, you will understand what I mean. If you only really watch my vlogs and are more interested in the reselling and that kind of side of things, it's like a tool that means you can put an image of like all shapes and colours and what have you. It kind of works a bit like a kaleidoscope used to, and it will turn things into just the most enormous variety of patterns and things. And I use it in quite a few ways at the moment, and there's other ways that I'm going to use it in the future as well. And I've made a video about it, I think just one video. That video has been enough to convert a handful of people into like purchasing it and using it, and so I get a commission on that. I keep checking it and it was sort of building up a little bit, and I couldn't work out why I wasn't being paid it, and I couldn't find any information about it. And because it wasn't like that much money, I wasn't that bothered about it. It's been on my to-do list to, you know, contact Repa and just say, right, how, like, when does this pay out? Why is this kind of stuck in pending and all of that kind of thing? And I have a feeling, because what got paid out was $31.99, so I have a feeling there's probably a $30 threshold. At some point I'll double check that. But the upshot is, the outcome is, the conclusion is that I got just over $30 in my PayPal account today, which is great because that's covered some postage that's gone out on a load of dispatch this morning that goes out through eBay but comes out via PayPal. It's just, honestly, such a stupid system, such a stupid system. So that's positive. I don't feel like I've kind of like gained from it as such, but it has covered some stuff that's come out, so of course that is a gain. And then I also had, I've just realised, I hope this isn't too dark where I'm filming. I'm by the window, but because it's such a dark, rainy day, I can't see. If I look at, I'm obviously looking at the screen rather than at you through the lens. I can't really tell. Might as well just tidy myself up while I'm at it. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I had a £50 sale on eBay today from something that came out of an auction job lot that I think cost me £70, and this one item is sold for 50. So I am incredibly pleased by that. And out of that, so it was 50 plus postage was two. I think I've got my postage set, I've changed it recently, this is why I'm not entirely sure. I think I've got it set to £2.59, and I send everything first class, which is about is it £2 something now? That's what it sold for, $49.99 plus postage. And out of that I've kept £40. So, and obviously I promote my listings, I've spoken about that this week. So they're keeping quite a chunk of my money, because I've then, out of that 40 quid, then got to pay the postage. So that brings it down to what, 38. But the item itself is incredibly niche, and I could have put that on Vinted and I don't think anyone would have bought it. I'm not convinced it would have sold on Etsy either, so I think it was in the right place. And for me, because of the job lots and the stuff that I get, I just think that there is still a place in my reselling business for eBay. It's not going to be running an 850 item eBay store anymore. It's going to be below 500, but I think it's still the right place for me to put certain things. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. Also, my thoughts, speaking of those auction lots, is I recorded myself unboxing them, and like there was a lot. I think I've got 3, 4, 5 videos worth of footage of me just unboxing and sorting through a load of auction lots and jewellery and things. I want to share it because I love watching those videos. I like watching Lex on her Bad Biscuit channel. I like watching Scottish Magpie, Sustainer Beads, honestly, put your teeth in, love, and speak properly. I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. Those are the 3 main ones that I watch, and I really enjoy them, and I learn a lot from them. You wouldn't learn a lot from me doing it. Like when I tell you I'm unboxing the jewellery, I'm mostly just saying, oh, that's nice, oh, that's pretty, oh, I like that, oh, that's rubbish, that's going in this bag. Like, that's it. But I don't know what to do with that footage, and I don't know where to put it, and I don't think putting it on this main channel, I don't think that's going to work, because it's going to really, really confuse the algorithm. And my channel confuses the algorithm anyway, because I do talk about quite a few things. It is as chaotic as I am at times. Part of me is just like, oh, just put it on this channel, because then you'll get a little bit of money for it, even if a few hundred people watch it. And then the other part of me is thinking that maybe if I uploaded it to a separate channel and called it Sparrows and Treasures, which is what my Etsy shop is called, I use that channel more as a marketing and promotional tool than I do as a sort of sharing, potentially educational kind of thing. Do you see what I'm saying? Where I'm hopefully showing the jewellery to people who are buyers rather than other sellers. Now, I know that other sellers will watch, because I'm a seller and I watch. I do also buy stuff, but you know what I mean. So I'm tempted to do that, but then am I creating more work for myself? It's not like I'm committing to uploading a video every week or trying to do anything with any kind of regularity. It will just be every 6 to 8 weeks when I buy my big job lots of jewellery. I just put stuff on then. But also, I'm just, hope you don't mind me just thinking out loud here. If I'm saying out of the 2 auction lots that I got, that I've probably got enough footage for 4 or 5 videos, well then maybe I could just like batch edit them and schedule them to go out once a week, once a fortnight maybe. I don't know. I know I don't want to do Instagram for my jewellery shop, because I just can't do it. I can't do it. It's one of those things where you put something out on Instagram and it's always like literally gone in 24 hours, or it just dies a death and it doesn't. I'm more interested in like long-term searchable content, which is what you get on YouTube. Now, some of my old videos just never get any views after they've gone out, but then some of them do get picked up and some of them do get rewatched, and it means that you're creating like this thing, this digital product or whatever, you're putting it out and you get your initial burst of income from it, and then it's got the potential to just tick over in the background. I don't know, it just feels more worth my time. There are people who run, I mean, we all know them, who run wildly successful businesses and brands just using Instagram, or mainly using Instagram, but it's not for me. So I would be really, really interested in your thoughts on that. I think what I'm choosing between is a jewellery unboxing playlist on this channel, which is like, that's simply all it is. I'm sharing it with like my existing viewers, or a separate channel. And I have actually got one. I've got one that I started years ago that was meant to be a crochet channel, but I only put 1 video on it and that was it. So I could just change the name of that one. So it's not like I've even got to set up a channel or anything, it's already there. Change the name, Sparrows and Treasures, and try to gear it more towards the end buyer of the jewellery, even though I accept that other sellers will watch it. Do you see what I mean? But just try and push it more as a, here are some pretty things you can buy, not here is me telling you or showing you how you can make money doing this too. I know what I mean. But yeah, your thoughts on that would be much appreciated. I have got so many other things to tell you about, but I've just realised I've sat and talked to camera. It's saying 20 minutes 25. I'm hoping I can edit that down for you all, because that's quite a lot of listening that you've had to do. I am also really hungry at the moment, so I think we're about midday-ish. I'm hoping it's midday, because as soon as it gets to 12, I'm thinking, what can I have to eat now? I have got some really, really lovely leftover pasta from last night's dinner, and I cannot wait to get stuck into it. What we're going to do though, after that, when we're back, and also I have to say, quite enjoying sitting on the floor at the moment. It feels, I'm surrounded by all of my mess, but it feels quite cosy down here. It feels quite cosy. I'm sat on a blanket, got a blanket, got a cushion, got my jumper on. Also, just on the video that went out last night, the spending too much, this was another £2 jumper. What I think we're going to do this afternoon, this is what I was trying to say, I get sidetracked so much. What we're going to do this afternoon is something a little bit kind of arty and creative, because I will tell you more about what it's for later. I feel the need to do something that I find relaxing, soothing, also something that's going to fire a different part of my brain. I've done a lot of thinking, a lot of trying to get past like negative things that I keep thinking about myself, all of that, and I'm just like, right, I'm done with that now. That's in the bin with that. I want to do something nice, basically. So I've got some little sketches and things that I'm going to turn into something and use them in my business. But more about that when I get back. Okay then, so I finally put the light back on because I realised that I was sat here in the dark with my iPad trying to sort out some drawing and some... Right, let me start by telling you what it's for, because I told you this morning that I basically planned out... Let me just double check I haven't got anything on here after that other video. No, there is nothing personal on here whatsoever. Kind of planned out where I'm going, what it is that I want to do, and I've actually broken some of it down into steps as well. I've got some things to focus on for November and some things to focus on in December to get ready for January, and then there's next year, and I haven't organised next year yet because that's a bit too much. So the plan is something that pre-pandemic I had a conversation with like a business friend, and I explained like an idea, something that I wanted to achieve and put together, which was to do with Sparrows End, kind of my YouTube channel, and make that into a thing. So you often hear people sometimes making quite unpleasant comments actually about people who make more money from the social media side of things, from talking about something, from making courses and teaching about something, and kind of that side of things, that they make more from that than they do from the actual job itself. So an example of that would be, by the end of this year, I will have made £1,000 from Amazon KDP. When I launch my 2 little mini courses, like I said, if people do them, if people will pay me to teach the 2 elements of it that I know I can teach people about, then that will make probably 2 times to 2.5 times what I've actually made from KDP. And some people don't really like that. On the other hand, I think it's completely understandable that that happens. When I think about my teaching career, I made more money from teaching than I've ever made from history, from being a historian, because my skills, or talent, if you want to call it that, was in communication, was in, learning about the pedagogy of learning and putting that into practice, communicating ideas, showing up with a level of authenticity that you categorically need in a school, working with teenagers, because they smell a rat if you go in and you try and talk to them as anyone or anything other than yourself. And I was good at history. I didn't go on and do a PhD, although that was because I couldn't afford it. I would have loved to. But, I'm not a high level historian. It was also the subject that I took that I always found the most difficult. And yet, when I turned to teaching it, the teaching side of things, almost from day one, I just got it. And there were, bits and pieces here and there that needed tweaking and improving. And obviously, the more you practice, the better you get. But some people will always be able to talk about the thing, communicate the thing, teach people about the thing better than they can actually do the thing themselves. And I've been listening to a lot of business podcasts and things this week. Also reading quite a lot of kind of like business stuff. An awful lot of the advice is about doing what you're good at. And that actually we keep telling people that they have to love everything that they do and find their passion and their purpose and all of this kind of stuff. It's actually Stephen Bartlett. I don't know if you kind of watch his podcast that's on YouTube. I think he's also on Dragon's Den, but I don't watch that. He talks about in his book basically about what a load of BS that is anyway. Just go and do work that you're good at, that suits you. And so when I think about what I'm good at, I realise that I'm better at talking about all the stuff that I'm doing, sharing about it, communicating about it. I mean, eventually next year we'll start, teaching some things about certain elements of it. And I can't really help the fact that I'm better at that than actually doing some of the work itself. So there's that realisation. And then this conversation that I'd had with a business friend years ago now, pre-pandemic, like I said. The pandemic really threw me off course for about 2 years, pre-pandemic. And I talked about how I would love to set up something under the Sparrows End umbrella that was almost like a hub, a hub with a library of resources, of mini courses, stationery, all sorts of things that small business owners like me would find very useful. That I would enjoy making those things, all of those kind of range of products. And if there's teaching involved, I would love that. And I kind of came back to that idea this week and thought, why did you let that go? Because actually a lot of the things that I keep talking about and mentioning and saying, oh, I might do that, I might do this, you can see I've still got the same idea. So we're going to do it. And in November, I'm hopefully going to get 3 things done, which are going to be part of the Sparrows End ecosystem. If Apple can have an ecosystem, I don't see why Sparrows End cannot have an ecosystem. So the first thing that I'm going to do to sort of deepen the ecosystem a little bit is to open up channel memberships, which is something I probably should have done a long time ago, because I do get, on a semi-regular basis, I do get asked about Patreon. And so I think a simple channel membership that's low cost, that I'll talk about the tiers and things probably tomorrow in like the final video of this series, that will give people an opportunity to just almost like dip their toe in the water of getting a little bit more involved in the Sparrows End ecosystem. And they are low cost levels. I think I've got one at 99p a month, one at $1.99 and one at $2.99. And one of the things that I've been like designing and drawing out is you get a little badge icon next to your name that changes when you reach certain milestones of being the member of a channel. So I've tried to do, and I'm not convinced I've done it particularly well, but I didn't want to just use the YouTube standard ones. I wanted to have a go at creating something myself. So I have, and obviously it's like a little pixelated drawing, isn't it? So I've done like a flower, and then at each milestone, you get like extra petals, more colour, and it kind of gets bigger and bigger as you reach the different milestones. So that's been quite fun. Like I said, it's probably not my best work, but we're going with done is better than perfect. Again, I will show you a little bit more of this tomorrow. I'm going to like step away from it and then come back and look at it again tomorrow. So I've done that. The other thing that I'm going to set up in November is a tea mill shop, so that I actually have some products and a shop linked to the channel. Really just trying to, if I take at the moment the YouTube channel as like the center point, which it is because I don't have a website or anything. If that's the center point at the moment, I'm looking at like, where can I branch off, where can I offer something else, in what ways can I just deepen my relationship with people a little bit more. And so the tea mill shop, t-shirts, sweatshirts, tote bags, it's not going to be Sparrows End merch though. It's going to be hopefully some really nice illustrations that may or may not appeal to people, because I think some of the stuff I was holding up before, like folk art flower mug, the type of illustration that I like is quite folksy, quite naive looking. I like using like pencil in illustrations. Anyway, you'll see them when they're done. So use a combination of my own artwork and maybe some things on there that are kind of related to creative business and so on. So that's two things. And then towards the end of November, I want to properly set up my Substack, which is a bit like Patreon, but it's better. And it is a platform that's growing. And it originally started as something that tended to be used by writers and journalists. But actually, you're now getting an awful lot of creative entrepreneurs on there who want to set up things where, so for example, I can post a piece of writing, like short, medium length, a long piece of writing. I can add in my own photos, my own illustrations if I want to. I can set it as free, or I can set it to subscribers only. And so that's where it's a bit like Patreon. You can kind of have like this like free stuff and paid for stuff, and it's got the option of adding in things like a podcast, and it has really important features whereby there's like a community element where people who respond to your posts and things can chat to each other. And yeah, so it's got that feeling of being a hub, and I would consider that almost like the next depth after the channel membership. So if you think about the audience that I've got, it's quite small, like it's not a big audience or anything. A lot of these things I will just be setting up and embedding and building in. I'm not expecting loads and loads of people to join them or buy from the tea mill shop or anything like that. But it is just me setting up the ecosystem and working out how things will weave in and out of each other, the ways in which I can help people. I can offer companionship, I can offer company, I can a lot of people seem to really like the transparency with which I talk about things. You know, where else can I do that? And is there a way that I can do that more in certain places, on certain platforms? So it's a lot of that. I've just got to move because my bum's gone numb. I'm sitting on a cushion, but it's not enough. YouTube membership, tea mill shop, and Substack. That is what's coming up. And then I'm going to take December to put together an outline, like a fairly detailed outline of the 2 mini courses that I want to offer my KDP people. And I'm hopefully going to pre-sell those this side of Christmas, ready to launch the course probably like second week in the mini courses, second week in January, because that then gives me the chance to write like the first chunk of both of them and put them together and record all the videos and all the rest of it and have those good to go. She's got big ideas all of a sudden, hasn't she? big ideas. But yeah, thank you for sticking with me so far this week, and I will see you again tomorrow.